Bitcoin is digital capital. Digital credit takes a 40 vol asset and strips it down to 4 vol and takes a 30 or 40% return and turns it into 10% return. But the real incredible opportunity is there are so many thousands of opportunities to create digital money and digital yield. Like the first company that creates a Swiss bank account that pays you 6% in Swiss francs. What do people want? They want risk-free return. They want what do people want? We want to be not fat. We want to live forever. We want a robot to do all the work. We want the car to drive us, right? And we want to be rich. And we want to do it without stress, no anxiety, no risk, and I want someone else to do it for me. Okay? And it's, you know, and the great products, I mean, literally it's like, oh yeah, that thing, I inject that and it makes me not fat. Just get what's in it, just give it to me. Click. It's like, you know, it's like, give me that thing, right? And so if we just focus upon finance, I would just say people would just like to get rich comfortably with no risk. And so if you go to Japan and you offer people digital money that pays them 6% in yen, no currency risk, no market risk, no volatility. If you go to Europe and offer people 6 or 8% euro accounts, I say this to, I've even said this to, you know, large companies. I'm like, here's your website. Your website ought to be, you can either have 6%, 12%, or 18% yield in Swiss francs, euros, or dollars. Just click. Everybody wants to do complicated stuff, but I just think, okay, well, how do you create 18% yield in euros? Start with 11% yield in USD, convert the currency to euros with the currency hedge, borrow the money at 2, 3, or 4% interest, loop it 3 times, generate 30+% yield, keep 5% for the volatility and currency hedge, pass the rest through to the customer. If you want, give them a 1-month lockup or give them a 3-month lockup. Do you want 24%? You got to hold the money for 3 months. Yeah. Everybody comes up with complicated ideas. But by the way, and it's a point I would make to you, like all those other things, they were brilliant and sophisticated and they had like 100 features and they all failed. It's because people come up with complicated ideas with lots of moving parts. And the one thing you learn in life is just a simple idea. The first bank in the UK that gives people 8% yield in Great British pounds with no volatility. Like, who wants that? Everybody wants that. If you're a saver, you want 8%, no risk, no volatility, because you're getting right now 3%. If you're an investor, you want 16%. Maybe you'll agree to lock up the money for 3 months, pay me double. Maybe I want 24%. Pay me triple, right? How do you do it? It's simple to do it. Go to an AI and say, I want to take stretch and I want to create zero volatility, 20% yield. How much leverage do I need? What's the cost of capital? How do I do it? Can I wrap it into a public fund, a private fund, a bank account, a token? I would figure that out. Why do I think it's a big opportunity? Because you can create digital money in every jurisdiction and every currency and there are a lot of flavors of volatility and liquidity preferences. You can wrap it in different ways. The AI will show you how to build it. And it's like I say this and it's kind of tongue in cheek, but it's serious. How do you make money? Make the money. Literally make, who made the most money in the last 1,000 years? The people that made the money. The goldsmiths, right? The bankers make the money. If I have a bunch of gold, and I started issuing gold-backed credit notes, and then and pretty soon you've got $1 billion of gold, and you issue $2 billion of gold-backed credit notes. You just created $1 billion out of thin air. You're just making the money. What we're doing is creating credit money with STRC. Strive is creating credit money with SETA, but it's volatile. It's got a 5 volatility, and volatility is a challenge. It decreases the appeal. The third layer, true non-volatile digital asset, is like peg it to a currency, the yen, the CNY, the euro, the Swiss franc, the whatever. Peg it to the currency, no volatility, decide how much liquidity you want to offer, decide how much yield you want to offer, and just go sell it and keep 100 or 200 basis points or 300 basis points, right? That's what I would do if I was working a business. That's my best idea. But the other ideas, there's a ton of other ideas, like a robot that does everything that you want that costs $20,000 a year. Who wants it? Everybody wants it. You'll sell 1 billion of them. The question is, can you create a robot that works, right? It's worth $10 trillion to NVIDIA or to Tesla. Will they try? They will definitely try. Maybe Apple will do it. I don't know. So there's a lot of miracle drugs. There's a lot of miracle devices. I would just leave you with the thought that Elon Musk is got this quote, and he said, like, the biggest mistake that engineers make is improving a part that shouldn't exist, or improving a function that shouldn't exist. Like, what is the ideal product is a product with no moving parts. It's like I have this watch, and you put it on your wrist, or like your little orange bands. If I put the orange band on my wrist, can I become indestructible because I got a force field and nothing can hurt me? That's the product people want, right? The personal force field. Or how about the one where it just prevents you from getting sick, aging, dying, or being hurt? Well, how many moving parts? None. Do you want to buy that? Of course you do. And what's an example of that? Any product that you buy once in your life that works forever. Okay, an insurance policy. It's like, I bought the insurance policy. Well, what does it do? Actually, kind of nothing, but somehow I pay for it, and the insurance company sits back and collects money forever, right? And is there any user error, right? It's impossible to have user error, right? It's just, I just bought it. The whole idea of digital credit is, well, how does it work? Well, you buy a share for $100, it pays you forever. Well, what do I have to do after I bought it? It took 10 seconds, and what do I do for the next 100 years? Nothing. So the real appeal of digital intelligence, in my opinion, is there are a lot of things in the world that have a lot of moving parts, and they're gadgety, like the phones that have buttons, and everything has a lot of parts, and we're getting to the point where you can just get rid of all the parts and just have the thing do the thing, right? And if you put the glasses on and the glasses look all around you and the glasses internalize everything and the glasses answer the question, how many people are sitting in the room right now? 497. It's like, I just want instantaneous, friction-free. It's better like, okay, how many people in the room right now? 497. Okay, send them all like a Bitcoin. Okay, done. Right, like instant, friction-free empowerment. And those products will go viral. They're not necessarily easy to build, but some of them are. There are a lot of products. One thing I note, the reason that we were successful in business intelligence is we created systems that would scan full relational databases, and they would give you analytics against billions and hundreds of billions of records, answering questions with a sophisticated relational calculus. And if you needed it, you know. If you know, you know. If you needed it, like you work in market research, you know that you needed it, or you're a bank credit manager. So the customers knew they needed it. But all of the competitors we had didn't think it was a good idea. It's like, it's a product that your customer needs, or what I joke is, it's something everybody needs, nobody can stop, but nobody understands, right? And so I used to joke, I could bring all of our competitors into a conference room, I could lecture them for 8 hours on what our product did, explain it in minutiae detail, and they would look at me at the end of the 8 hours and say, that's a bad idea. Why would anybody want that? It's like, it's not a question of keeping the idea secret. Literally, everybody that looked at it would have said, I'm not going to do that. And by the way, our business today is exactly that, right? Like, I can literally say, we're creating digital credit on top of digital capital to give people, to create digital money, to slurp up $30 trillion of capital, and we can basically generate $20 billion of income with 12 people, you know, in a year. And everybody's like, well, why would you want to do that? That's stupid. That'll never work. I could even do it, you know, like, we had a $500 million company and now we're like 80 billion, and people are telling me online every day of my life, you're stupid.
It's not going to work.
I'm like, wait a minute, we made like $80 billion, but you're stupid. Why would you want to? Bitcoin went from 150 billion to $1 trillion. That's stupid. Yeah. And so the best ideas are ones that are innovative enough. They use a new technology and they have a new, we're creating credit money. When's the last time you did it? Well, the gold people did it 300 years ago. No one did it in the last 100 years. Okay, you're stupid. Okay. It's not, you know, it's not unprecedented. It's just you haven't seen it in your life, but that doesn't mean that it isn't. You know, STRC is the first dividend-bearing stock that had a variable credit spread. That's stupid. There's 25,000 dividend-bearing stocks that are more valuable that have a fixed credit spread. It's just, well, why'd you do it? Well, you know, because it seemed like a good idea at the time. So I really think the killer businesses, and I think Peter Thiel says this a lot, he's like, the best businesses are these businesses that no one ever conceived of. It's like, that's stupid, that's impossible, why would you do that? And of course, the ironic ones are the ones where even 5 years after you've done it, people still think it's a stupid idea. And Apple was like that with the iPhone. People thought it wasn't going to work 5 years after they did it. Amazon, for a decade after Amazon was like doing home delivery, everybody on Wall Street said, that's a stupid business. They'll never make money on that. Doesn't make sense. With streaming video at Netflix, they said the same thing about it. You know, so what you want is you want to do something which is truly innovative that your parents never could have done. And if conventional wisdom is you're out of your fucking mind, you know, then it might work. And the question really is, well, how do you get 5 years or 10 years so that you can actually build a franchise without getting copied by people with more money and power and talent? You do something that they're so afraid of that they recoil in horror. Like, if you want to copy us, take $100 billion, buy $100 billion of Bitcoin, take the company public, and then sell the credit instrument. It's like, what? Are you kidding? Like, by the way, I've tried to convince companies to buy $1 billion of Bitcoin for 6 years. You know how hard it is to get anybody to buy $1 billion of Bitcoin? Insanely difficult. And so we just go do something that requires like $100 billion. And so because they think you're just so crazy, they're not going to chase after you. And because they're not going to chase after you, you get to go from being the small player with none of the assets in the space to being the bigger player, because you had the courage and the clarity and the conviction to go to some place nobody's gone before. In order to cars will never drive themselves. That's crazy. Oops, it looks like they're going to drive themselves. You know, you just have to go somewhere that's a good place where customers will be happy that they want that magic product, and you just have to have the courage to go there. And if you go there, the first 3 years, they can still crush you. Like, people could still come in with more capital if they wanted. But if it's novel enough, you could literally go on television, describe to everybody in the world what you're doing, and they'll be like, you're crazy. We're not doing that. And that's why you'll be successful, I think.